Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon and you are watching M.O.N.Comics. This is a video I've wanted to do for a few weeks now, and I didn't know how I wanted to approach it, but I thought it'd be really fun. Basically, the idea is I want to show what slabs I now have in my collection compared to 2 years ago. You know, if there are any books that I kept, what I moved, what I picked up, how my collecting taste changed, and just kind of go through the books like they're on my back wall. I sit and look at them from time to time, but I don't have anyone to talk to about them. Like, you know, I just sit there and look at them, but I thought it'd be fun if I made a video, put it out in the ether, and people who watch my videos can have some fun, see how my collection's changed. I'll link the video from 2 years ago and what I had for a graded book collection, and you can do a comparison if you want. Watch this video first, watch that one first, or vice versa, it doesn't matter. The video I made 2 years ago, I had 16 graded books from different grading companies. And now I have 25. So 2 years later, I've only added 9 books. And I think the biggest thing about that is my space. You know, I've got enough room to display them all on my wall. There's a shelf that's off camera. And I feel like any more than that, it kind of just goes to waste. Sure, I could rotate them, but again, it's always about space and where I can store them safely. I don't want to get into a debate about grading, whether you like it or not. I think the biggest thing I've come to realize in my years of collecting of why I enjoy graded books is one, the covers have become pieces of pop culture art. Some covers are just greater than others. And, I think another big reason is that when I leave my mortal coil, hopefully many years from now, it will be easier for my family to sell them. There's a definitive grade that is mostly accepted throughout the hobby world, and they won't be saddled with trying to wonder if someone is taking advantage of them with the raw books I have. I definitely have way more. I have a few hundred raw books compared to my 25 graded books. So in this collection, most of them are CGC. There's one CBCS and there's one EGS, which is a smaller grading company that I won. So I just want to go through, talk about these books, show how I watched my video I made 2 years ago, and it is crazy like how my tastes have changed, some of the caliber of books that I was able to procure and move on to. And I think a lot of that, or some of it at least, was being able to move some of those other books that really didn't mean that much to me and move them into a place where I could position myself for a bigger book, which is the case in some of these. So let's get to it. If you guys, wouldn't mind supporting the channel, the easiest way to do that is hit subscribe, hit the like button, share this video. The YouTube algorithm is mad at me. It's very mad because I didn't post videos for a couple weeks. God forbid someone take some time off. So I don't know if you've seen the movie from the 90s, Hackers. So let's hack the planet. Let's hack the algorithm. Share this out, get it out there, like, comment, subscribe. It means the world to me that you're sharing any time with me. I truly appreciate it. So let's get into these books. All right, this first book is the only book from 2 years ago that is still in my collection. Now, there is one book that's the same, but a different grade. I upgraded a book, and I'll show that in a bit. But this is the only book that I've held on to, and I think there's a good reason for that. It is Fantastic Four, issue 52. First appearance of the Black Panther. I remember when I got this book, it was like a March of, 2.5 years ago, since the channel is almost 3 years old. This was like the very first big book I picked up. And the prices have come down drastically on these, even in the 2.5 years that I picked these up. I don't consider it losing money because I haven't sold them yet. Yes, I paid more than what this is going for right now, but this is, again, I've held on to this book for 2 years. I really don't feel the need to upgrade. Does the writing on the moon bother me? Not really. It's just, that's what kids did back then, or anyone putting this in a garage sale. Other than that, it looks great. And hey, it's the first appearance of Black Panther and an Inhumans appearance. So it's 2.5 cream to off-white pages. I just remember getting this and thinking wow, what a huge purchase. And I think this is a really still an undervalued book. I think even at the time I bought this was undervalued, and I think it's even more undervalued now for how big the Fantastic Four are and the Black Panther's characters become. So I think this is a great book if you want to go out and you're just starting out with collecting maybe graded books. This would be a good one to get into. So yeah, this was the only book I kept after 2 years, and the rest I moved into other stuff. So slab number 1 is Fantastic Four issue 52 in a CGC 2.5. This next book is the only magazine-sized book I have graded, but it does mean the world to me. Man-Thing is my favorite Marvel character, and as I hunted down books, his appearances, you know, in comics, his first comic appearance is Astonishing Tales 12. His first cover appearance is 13. And then, you know, he goes on to have his first solo series, or he goes on to Adventures into Fear, 10 and 11, and then through those issues up to 19. And then his first solo series, The Man-Thing 1. But his first appearance is Savage Tales, issue 1. This was a magazine book that came out in 71. Stan Lee thought there was more room on the market for these kind of books, and the editor at the time, Marvel, I can't remember who it was, I'll put it down here, didn't think it was. This did not perform well, and they halted it for until 1974, I believe, and then they started coming out with more. But it's Savage Tales issue 1. It's the second Conan comic title, which is pretty cool in and of itself. Robert E. Howard adaptation, origin first appearance of Man-Thing. And there is a Khazar story in here too. So this is where it all began. He's not on the cover. It's kind of sad, but that's okay, because with this you get a great John Buscema painted Conan decapitation cover. So a lot of people love this because it's Man-Thing's first appearance, and it does say right here, the coming of the Man-Thing. But people do also just love the decapitation cover, you know. This is in the 70s, about the time that the comic code was starting to loosen up and allow stuff like this. So CGC 4.5, off-white to white pages. I've read this story. I've read all the stories in the book. I actually got this raw first and read through all of them. This is black and white, and the art by Gray Morrow in here is just haunting. If you ever get a chance to check out some of the panels, just Google it and you'll see. So this is really special to me when I was able to procure this. The seller, Mark from Chillectables, on both Instagram and whatnot, quoted it as a 4.5. I sent in the CGC. I just had them do a press, and it came back at 4.5. Usually I use my own pressers. But I just wanted to get this back. I can't remember what the rush was at some reason, but to have it in any grade, I'm very happy with it. This was my most recent slab pickup, and though it really wasn't a pickup, it was a gift from my buddy GSS Brooklyn, moderator of my channel, longtime supporter. He gifted me with this Deceased #1 from 2019. It's a Miko Swayan sketch cover of Harley Quinn. Deceased covers were awesome. It's probably a series I want to get into reading. It's just a beautiful cover of Harley. And I don't have much DC in my collection besides some Bronze Age horror. But as you can see on the back, this was an exclusive variant edition presented by M.O.N.Comics. So some, you know, comic places will have their own variant editions and put these out. So it is a 9.8 with white pages. The more I look at it, the more I love this. The contrast of the black, white, and the red lipstick kiss is just awesome. So shout out again to JSS. Thanks for hooking me up with this. I do have a few modern books in here, so they kind of appear at the beginning. I will pick up modern books graded more if we're talking about like a pop culture piece of art, because any of those books I have raw to read. Maybe I like the artist and it's just a nice display piece, and you'll see as we go. But yeah, Deceased #1 from 2019. Thanks, JSS. This book I won. This was won by a contest put on for my boys over at the Comic Book Canon. Great group of guys, one of the funniest, best show, millions of viewers weekly on Sundays on their channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So they have Fresh from the Comic Shop. It's a competition weekly where you take your book, you post a picture of your book, tell why it's important to you. If it's a heart, if you pull at the heartstrings, you're going to get a little more bonus points. And then you go up and they put it in their stories and you can vote. And if you're the winner for that month, they send you something. And this month it was a slab. So I got, and I don't take it out of this plastic because it has certificate authenticity with it, but this is Amazing Spider-Man #25 from 2023, and it's a variant cover by Scotty Young. I am a fan of Scotty Young, and I do like his, again, it's very Calvin and Hobbes reminiscent to me. So picked up, got this book, won it a couple years ago, and EGS is a smaller grading company, but I do like their label. I do like the case. I think it's really cool. It displays well. Anything I win or is gifted to me, I'll never sell or give away. It just stays in my collection forever, and it reminds me of that experience. So yeah, Amazing Spider-Man #25, 9.8 white pages. Again, we're sticking with the modern theme, and another kind gift from my buddy Jay of Jay and Baxter's Expensive Paper. Shout out to them. I've been fascinated with Something is Killing the Children, and through Something is Killing the Children, I learned about a really famous cover artist by the name of Jenny Frison. I love any of her work. I may not buy every piece she does, but if it's something I collect, like Something is Killing the Children, I'm going to make a stab at trying to get that cover. So this is issue 16. It's The Origin of Erica Slaughter Begins. It's a virgin cover. Many longtime collectors know, but if not, it's maybe your first time and you're not, just getting into comic collecting, but a virgin cover means there's nothing on here. So there's no Marvel, no DC, no publishers put on here. It's just a pure piece of work of art. I mean, it's just gorgeous, gorgeous. So 9.8 CGC white pages. Yeah, Jay also shares my love of Something that's Killing the Children. That is the mark for the Order of St. George. And I'm really glad they were on like an 8-month hiatus because of the everything going on with Diamond Publishing going bankrupt and not distributing. And I just started to be able to get the newest issues and read it, and I am still in love with it. So Frison, love her. I want to add more slabs to my collection from her work. You always, I guess sometimes you hope when you see an artist that you like that they start doing other titles that maybe are near and dear to you, whether it's Predator or Fantastic Four or Man-Thing. I'd love to see her work on any of those. So yeah, really happy to have this new slab in my collection. You'll notice if you watch my original video compared to this one, there's a lot more stories tied with this one. I've made friends, I've made connections, and even my wonderful wife has understood that giving a comic for a gift sometimes will just, shoot me over the moon. And that's what she did last year for my birthday. Strange Tales, issue 88. This is from 1961, off-white to white pages in a CGC 6.0. There is no relevance to this other than it is a pre-hero Marvel monster. So this came out in September of 1961. Fantastic Four came out in November. So this is pre-Fantastic Four. Again, my really fixation was Strange Tales, Astonishing Tales, Tales of Suspense, and the history of these monsters carrying Marvel from the post-code comic book code authority through the end of the golden age into the silver age is really cool to me. And believe it or not, like 6.0 for a book, this is a high grade for this book. You don't find them like this. So I was really grateful. She reached out to my buddy Ryan, the Colossus Collector, for some help. Because let's face it, if you're just trying to buy comics and you go on a website, you don't know what you're looking for, or eBay. And Ryan was able to point her in the right direction. And it's really beautiful. This is, the colors are great. It's the issue before the first appearance of Fin Fang Foom in Strange Tales 89. So yeah, just two big monsters going after it. They did reprint the story in Fear or Adventures into Fear. I can't remember what issue it is, but the monster colors are different. Whenever they reprinted these stories in the Bronze Age, they changed some stuff about the monsters, the colors. I don't know if it was printer ink was cheaper. Chime in the comments if you know. But really cool how they change. Now, the first appearance of the Hulk prototype, Journey to Mystery 62, they reprint that in Monsters on the Prowl. And they actually, because the Hulk came out, they didn't call him the Hulk on the cover, they called him the Titan. And they changed his color regardless, like he wasn't even the Hulk's color. So very interesting, cool history tied all around with that. So thanks, Hannah. Really appreciate this one. Now we're going to go into some pre-code horror with adventures into weird worlds. Never thought 2 years ago when I was buying graded books that I'd be able to afford pre-code, because again, 2.5 years ago, prices were way up. They've come down. This is a really cool book. It's Rlcomics, which eventually would become Marvel. It's from 1953, and the cover is cool, not only because it was done by Bill Everett, who was a co-creator of Submariner, but it's a really cool vampire cover with a girl in the red dress. It's a CGC 4.5 off-white to white pages, and it looks really great for its grade. I've been really into collecting vampire covers. I'm a huge vampire fan. The white is still really clean. The colors still really pop on this book from a book from 1953. I mean, it's just incredible to me. Gotta love the old ads on the back. So yeah, this is one I got through a claim sale on J&S Collectibles on Instagram. Really good guys. I believe they're out of Connecticut area. I did meet them at Terrificon and get a book from them that I have. So really grateful to have any kind of pre-code graded. I do have more raw than I have graded. But when I saw this and this beautiful green vampire, I couldn't pass it up. Going back to the pre-hero monsters, I got this book at Terrificon with another book. Didn't think, this wasn't even my radar, but it was right next to the other book, and the cover, this bronze color, just does it for me. This is Tales of Suspense, issue 15 from March of 1961, so even earlier than the other one I showed was Zootak. You know, this is, you know, a few months before the Fantastic Four. Steve Ditko and Don Heck art, Jack Kirby, the great, the king, Jack Kirby, and Dick Ayers cover and art. CGC 6.0 cream to off-white pages. Again, you just don't see these in this condition from this age that often. And because of that, they usually command a higher price. Now, I bought these from Sean Comics CT at Terrificon, who's also on Instagram, and his grades were spot on. This book and the other book that I bought from him, he had, you know, they were raw. These are some of the only books that I've sent in for grading out of this new collection, if you will, compared to 2 years ago. And he was spot on. The grades were spot on. I've definitely sent less and less to CGC, you know, between all the turmoil and you know, stuff that's going on with their company and blemishes and, you know, and cost. I started to fine tune and realize like what books were worth it to send that I would keep in my collection or might increase the value to trade or sell to get bigger books. So it's really interesting how I've learned that in 2 years too. This is the appearance of Goom. Goom's cool. He looks kind of goofy, but he's actually got bat wings. And he's got a son that appears later, Googam, son of Goom. The names are so crazy and kooky, but I love the bronze trade dress from books of this era with the yellow. I think it really pops. Really early Tales of Suspense. You know, Tales of Suspense 39, first appearance of Iron Man. So this is way before Iron Man, way before Fantastic Four. So this is like, really love this book. Really cool. Anytime I can get these, I will. So really grateful that I've come this far in 2 years to get books like this. So some of you have been watching the channel may, you know, and if you're new to the channel, I was trying to collect the Stan Lee and Jack Kirby Fantastic Four run, issues 1 to 102. It was too much. It was a lot. I was just kind of getting bored with it, but I did keep some of my favorites out of there. One being issue 48. This book, it's a great looking 0.5. Again, almost 2 years ago, I did not have this book. I got this book like probably right after I made that video. I started working on saving for this book, but it was a lot higher than it is now. This one is graded in CGC 0.5, off-white to white pages. Stan Lee story, Jack Kirby and Joe Sinnott cover and art. This is important because it's the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. One of my favorite superheroes. It's got a Galactus cameo on the last page and Inhumans and Watcher appearance. So 0.5 looks pretty good for a 0.5, right? Subscription crease. You know, it's got some issues with the spine. The back isn't all that horrible. But what I said I would be able to tolerate is that page 3 is missing. It does affect the story. It's just part of the story with the Inhumans. It has nothing to do with the Silver Surfer. So if I open this up, I could still see the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. I think this is a great introductory grade and looking book for this particular issue and its importance. This is probably the only one I feel I'd like to upgrade out of all the books I have. And I don't know why. Maybe because like to prove that you can get in an introductory grade and a lower price and then move up as you so desire. You hear people talking about it all the time, but like, you know, I like to see people follow through with that. And I think this would be a cool one to do. Still looks great for the grade, and I still got the first appearance of the Silver Surfer. We might as well go right in order with one of my top 3 Silver Age covers for sure. This was a big deal too. To get this, I had just graded a Crime Suspense Stories issue 5 or 9, I can't remember. It was my first pre-code horror book. I had it graded a 5.0, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I love this book, and I had my eyes on it, and I just threw it out in Facebook land. If anyone has this book in this grade, I'm looking to trade. And a guy messaged me, and he was really cool, and he's like, I gotta stop trading these books, and he had it. It is Fantastic Four issue 49. Now I have checked, and the price of the book I traded him, as well as the book of this price, have pretty much dropped together. Like at the time, we considered them pretty equal value, and since then they've dropped together. So it wasn't like this guy made out like crazy. We both stayed about the same. So this issue 49, CGC 2.0, creamed off white pages. First full appearance of Galactus. It is just one of the best, most composed covers in the Silver Age, maybe of comic book covers of all time. You've got Galactus looming over the Fantastic Four. It's just absolutely beautiful. So this is the first full appearance of Galactus, second appearance of Silver Surfer, and first Silver Surfer and Galactus cover. This is a book that, you know, it looks great for a 2.0. And, you know, when you get the higher grades, the colors are sharper, they pop more, they're more beautiful. But this is what I could get at the time, and I'm very happy to still own it. I haven't felt, you know, compelled to upgrade it. It does, I love the custom label when the custom label matches the book. I think that's the coolest they get with them. And sometimes I don't think they're great at all. And sometimes I think they're okay. But I think this is the best when they pick the one that matches the book. So it's coming this summer. I'm really pulling for the Fantastic Four. Anyone who's a Fantastic Four fan, you know, I don't care if it increases the value of the book, decreases. I don't care. I just want a good movie. Marvel's first family deserves so much more. So please, Galactus, be the badass we know you are. I know, right back to the monster theme. Please don't shut the video off just yet. These are cool. Tales of Suspense, issue 13. This is from 1961. Now, this is from January of 1961. So this is, you know, way before the Fantastic Four and the other books that I have. Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, again, coming in on the cover. And then him and Don Heck, Paul Reisman and Dick Ayers art. Electro cover and story. So this is Electro, who is a robot that this professor creates. It becomes sentient, if you will. But a lot of people theorize this is the next time you see Electro was in Amazing Spider-Man issue 9 as one of the Spider-Man's main rogues gallery. So this is cool. This is where I think, you know, I fall into it's a recycled name, not a prototype name, because the characters don't share any real similarities besides the use of electricity, but they don't look alike really, you know, it's just the name. But again, early Tales of Suspense, they have that really cool bronze cover color in the trade dress, and it really does it for me. Got this from JS Collectibles at Terrificon for a really fair price. And anytime I can find these for sub $200, I'm all in. Sheesh, maybe I should just go for an early Tales of Suspense run, period. So, issue 10, Tales of Suspense, from July of 1960, you know, a whole year before Fantastic Four. Stanley story, Jack Kirby, Dick Ayers, Ryman, Ditko, and Heck art, Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko cover. Again, this is another good example. The next time, I believe that they used the name Cyclops was for X-Men. Someone reached out, I think, in Instagram and said they thought there was another book, but I think this I think this is the only one that I could find. Really, I've always been fascinated with the Cyclops. This is, when you look at reprints in the Bronze Age, I'm not sure if it's Monsters on the Prowl, Creatures on the Loose. I can't remember which. I'll put it down below, but this is the first issue of the reprints. They reprint this story. Really cheesy, great story from the 60s, featuring some amazing comic tropes. But yeah, I saw this on my comic shop for like $125. I couldn't pass it up. It's a CGC 4.0 off-white to white pages, and I will always grab them at that price. This is a childhood connection one that I was really had my eyes out for. I had the whole set of 3 when I was a kid. It was the first book that really showed me that you could get crossovers between different properties. You know, whether it was a DC comic book and a Dark Horse comic and movie. It is Batman vs. Predator issue 1. This is part of a 3-part series. Really fun story in which the first issue, we get Batman trying to figure out what's killing people. They think it's a serial killer. He finally meets up with the Predator. Second issue, the Predator almost kills Batman. And in the third issue, Batman has to create a suit to maybe defeat the Predator. Really cool. I've always loved this cover. It is, I believe Chris Warner did this cover, who was the cover artist for Predator issue 1, his first appearance in comics. This is graded as CGC 9.8 white pages. Again, I'm a huge Predator fan. It connected me and my dad. And this is cool. I'm glad I held out. This is from the Fantastic collection, that collection that came out of Michigan, where a son inherited all of his father's comics and decided to sell them and get them back out into the world. So really cool, really historic piece, plus some nostalgia linked into that one. And I have them, I did get them raw so I could read them again because they're just really fun. Highly recommend. I only have 2 signed books in my collection right now. Before, I only had 1, so I've only increased by 1. I do have 2 more that I actually am getting verified. I've sent them off to my buddy Matt from M.O.N.Comics. Shout out to him and his amazing business. and he's going to send it to CGC. They're the only comics, the last comics I'll send this year, because I want the signature to be verified for my family for when I'm gone someday, that says, yes, these people, it's actually their signature, because they're pretty important. So, but this one I did get a Terrificon. I got to meet Charlie Cox. This is Daredevil issue 500 from October of 2009. It's a Gabriel Dell'Otto variant cover. I could have gone with any of the covers that featured Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox that they put out to get signed, but I love Gabriel Dell'Otto, and I thought this was a beautiful animalistic cover of Daredevil. CGC 9.8 white pages. Again, when I sent this out, I had it witnessed there by a company, Capture Collectibles, and they sent it out for me. I didn't care about the grade. It was about encasing it, the experience to remind me and Charlie Cox's signature. I still feel like a doof. It says, to Brandon, great to meet you, because he asked, what do you want me to write on? And I didn't think of, like, write your favorite quote from your show. Like, I was just kind of smitten. He's a really nice guy. And he's our Daredevil. He's done a fantastic job portraying him, and I hope he gets to go to the universe with it. But really cool to have that in my collection, personalized. And this was like my last item I got back from Terrificon. So it was like a last little bit of love from that show. This book has no key significance. Really, well, I can talk about it, what's on the back, but really it was a gift from a good friend of the channel when I was collecting Fantastic Four Heavy. And as I've put this on my wall and I started looking at it more, I love this cover. So this is Fantastic Four issue 77 from August of 1968 in a CGC 4.5 off-white to white pages. Does have the custom label, and you see what I mean? Like, this is the cover for Fantastic Four 49. So it really doesn't work with this book. Like, that's what I'm talking about. It's really cool. I like how they've kind of like boxed off the Silver Surfer, Galactus down here, all the characters of Fantastic Four. They did a great job with that. The significance is Silver Surfer and Psycho Man appearance, Galactus cameo, and a full paid ad for Silver Surfer #1. This was gifted to me by Richard Westfall, probably one of the biggest community supporters. He's out there modding channels, sending AOKs, just a super nice guy. And I'm never going to get rid of this. I've held on to it. And the more I look at it, the more I love Psycho Man on the cover and Silver Surfer and Galactus. Look at Galactus's eyes. So menacing. So Richard, again, thanks for this, man. I'm glad to have met you, and I really appreciate you sending this along, and I'll keep it forever. All right, so we're in the home stretch of my books, and this is where we get some heavy hitters, some of my favorites. The first being Silver Surfer issue 4 in a CBCS 4.0 white pages. Again, this Fantastic Four 49, that's in the top 3. This is in the top 3 as well. Maybe the best Silver Age cover of all time. Maybe the best comic book cover of all time. I don't know. It is just one of the most beautiful depictions of Thor and Silver Surfer. It is just gorgeous. It's got a bit of that Kirby crackle in the back, although this is a John Buscema cover. This was on my list for a long time. I planned on getting a Terrificon, and mission accomplished. And when I did, it was a CGC Blue Label 5.0, and it said John Buscema written in ink in front cover. And I sent it to CBCS because I just wanted to see what their grading was like, what their experience was like. Everyone's like, oh, you lost, value sending it. I'm not selling it. I can pop this and send it to CGC if I really wanted to and get verified through them. I just needed to know that the signature was in fact legit. And it was. So was really happy to get this graded, beautiful, and verified signature on this book. I don't mind that it's a CBCS case at all. What I can say is CBCS was wildly more expensive to send in just like one book to get verified. It was almost the same price as if I sent 2 to CGC. Now that's with a membership at CGC, but CBCS, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, does not have memberships unless you're sending in high volumes. So I learned that it was more expensive, but I mean, just thrilling to not only get this book that I wanted, but I never thought I'd end up with John Buscema's signature of one of, if not the most iconic covers in comic history, Silver Surfer issue 4. Again, you'll hear me say it a lot. Never thought I would own this book, but chances come up. And again, it's a lot has to do with who I've met and the connections I made in the comic community. My buddy JP, good friend of mine now, one half of the Absolute Game of Nerds YouTube channel. He loves this franchise as much as I do. He picked this book up, and then he immediately saw a higher grade that he liked. And then I said, hey, I'll buy that one from you. And he took care of me, and he sold it to me. It is The Crow, issue #1, Caliber Press from February of 1989. James O'Barr story, cover, and art. This has been nostalgic and important for me for most of my adolescent into my adult life, which I then connected with my wife on. This is not his first appearance. This is his first ongoing solo series. However, it is the most desired of the Rlcomics, and first prints are hard to find. You'll find second and third prints on eBay often, especially in higher grades. They get more expensive because of the black cover and how much it shows. This is graded as CGC 6.5 cream to off-white pages. Don't really care. Never thought I'd own this. Really cool cult classic comic from the 80s. And this is probably the back, or my favorite back of any comic. A year ago, a cold October night, a broken down car on a dirt road, a man, a girl, madness, pain, and the shadows. My God, the shadows. Just awesome. So yeah, this is one I never thought I'd own, and I'm never letting go of it. And it just reminds me of so much when I look at it. You know, I made that video about like how you value your comics, and it really hits when it's that nostalgia value too. Like, yes, these can be expensive and rare and hard to find, but just the nostalgia of like, grew up with it, now I own the comic that it came from. Love it. Cue the jokes in the comments for my giant sized man thing. Yeah, you know, I had to have some of my boy Ted in here. This is my second favorite cover compared to Man Thing issue 1, the first ongoing solo series, which is also done by the great Frank Bruner. This one is just amazing. So this is Giant Size Man Thing issue 4 from May of 1975. Steve Gerber story, who is really cool writing Man Thing. Ed Hannigan and Frank Springer art, Frank Bruner cover. So this is the first Howard the Duck solo story. It's got a Howard the Duck backup story with art by Frank Bruner. It's a CGC 7.0 off-white to white pages, but I mean, the way he captures the soul of that creature in his eyes. And Man Thing, whatever knows fear will burn when he touches him, and that hand's burning. It's just a close-up. Again, just a beautiful cover. I got this for real cheap, I think on eBay for like $60. So I couldn't say no for less than $10 a point. And it's one that I will always hold on to too. Great Bronze Age horror cover. So make your jokes in the comments. It's okay. I'm used to it. So I had this comic before, but not this comic. I had this comic in a CGC 9.6. And then, again, along the way of my collecting journeys and YouTube and Instagram, I met my friend Steven, aka Stepo, aka Collecto6 on Instagram. He probably has the best comic book collection I've ever been able to see via camera and interact and talk with him about. He's been an advisor on the Overstreet Price Guide for many years and is just a wellspring of comic knowledge. He reached out, wanted my address, that he wanted to send me something, and he sent me a book that is so close to me and my father, which is Predator issue number 1, first appearance of Predator in comics. Now, I had this in a CGC 9.6, and when Steven sent me this issue and I saw it, I was like, that's a 9.8. It's gorgeous. And I rolled the die, and I took that 9.6, and I gave it to the fellows that run the Comics Curing Cancer event, which is a great fundraiser that happens every year. These guys raised over $50,000 last year, I believe. It's Mark from Legion of Comics, Rob Fatstacks of Comics, and DJ Links, and they do a wonderful job for a great cause. So I gave that to them and let them raise money for charity. I sent this to CGC. I had them do a quick press on it. Again, if I think it needs a lot of work, it's going to go to Jeff at Comic Spot or Matt from M-Press Comics, but this one didn't need it. I knew it was crisp. Rolled the die, it came back a 9.8. So this is the first appearance of Predator in comics. It's a Mark for Hayden's story, Chris Warner and Sam De La Rosa art, Venom fame, and Chris Warner cover. I mean, what can you say? It's just a really beautiful cover, an iconic shot of the Predator in the city. He's got a spear, he's got a skull. The trade dress is beautiful. I remember vividly seeing this on the rack as a kid and being like, whoa, it's a comic book too. So this one will stay with me forever. Thank you, Steven. As my collecting journey advanced over the past few years, I got way more into the history of comics. And then, you know, learning about the Comic Code Authority, how that came to be, seduction of the innocent, and how comics were changed forever. I needed a piece of that history. But not only did I want a piece of it, I wanted it with an artist that I really loved. And I did some hunting, and going back to my buddy Steven, Collecto6, Stepo, you know, he kind of advised me as I was buying this book, and it was on eBay, and he said they don't come up often, and that price is pretty good, so you might as well jump on it. It is Weird Science issue 19 from EC Comics. It is their May and June issue from 1953. It's a Bill Gaines and Al Feldstein story, Al Williamson, Joel Orlando, Jack Kamen art, but the cover art is done by the great Wallace Wood, who left us too early, and he's just probably my favorite Golden Age cover artist, who worked some into the Silver Age with Daredevil and some other titles, but this is just, it's such an iconic cover of like a zombie or decaying astronaut, and this astronaut looking out. It's got the 10-cent bubble. It's beautiful. It's a CGC 1.5 with light tan to off-white pages. Again, I'm going for books that aren't going to break the bank. It was cheaper because the spine of cover is completely split and reattached with tape, cover detached. What I've learned for when you're buying graded books, one way to get a book that usually would be very expensive but looks great in a lower grade is maybe the cover is detached or the spine split. I'm not taking it out of here. It's a display piece at this point. I can read the story online. It's just about being able to get that comic economically. My buddy Rohan from Absolute Game of Nerds, the one that does the show with JP, same thing. If you can get a book, if the cover's attached, who cares? If the back doesn't look great. Now this back is pretty good on this book. Doesn't look too bad at all. But I'm willing to look past that to get this book in my collection. So besides Wallace Wood, one of the greatest comic book artists of all time, working on this, why it's important, right up here, besides having a Ray Bradbury adaptation and biography, this was referenced in Seduction of the Innocents. So this was one they picked out of all the horror comics and said, this is too graphic. This is going to corrupt the innocent. So I just love this piece. I bought this. Again, a lot of them I probably bought right after I made my first CGC collection video, but really grateful, happy to own this and to have a piece of history. This was my big target at Terrificon, and I came away with it. I bought it with that other Tales of Suspense issue 15, I believe. I've wanted it again for the history of how Marvel monsters tie into our now famous superheroes. So it's Journey into Mystery, issue 62 from November of 1960, one whole year before the Fantastic Four hits. It's in a CGC 5.0, cream to off-white pages, Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko cover. Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, Don Heck, and Dick Ayers art. I'm guessing Stan Lee probably wrote it. First appearance of a character called the Hulk. That's not the Hulk. No, it's not. It's Zemnu the Titan. Again, they use this name. It's just like a Hulk. It's the only time they use it on the front cover. He's Zemnu the Titan from Planet X, I believe. And then they recycled this name for the Hulk that we know and love today. And when they reprinted this on Monsters from the Prowl issue 11, he is white, and the character just says, here comes the Titan. So this book, I don't know what it is about this big lumbering creature with these big paws. The brown trade dress for early Journey into Mystery. You know, before we got to Thor in Journey into Mystery 83, you know, we're doing monsters. So really love this book. This was on my target. I got it the first day Terrificon, again from M.O.N.Comics CT. There was no other copies of this there. I went around trying to, you know, research and see what other possible grades they had. This is the only one I found, so I jumped on it. And I've been grateful ever since. Really cool book to have in my collection. As I learned about cover artists, especially back in the Golden Age, there's one name too that really sticks out above the rest when you're talking top 5 GOATs, and that's Alex Schomburg. And I knew I wanted a cover from him. So for the past 2 years, I've been searching and searching and searching. And this year, I finally saw a book that fit the bill. Again, these books in higher grade are unobtainable for me. They're just scarce. They don't exist, and they're either beat up, economical like this, or very expensive. So this is Marvel Mystery Comics issue 57 from Timely Comics, which later becomes Atlas, later becomes Marvel, from July of 1944. This is the oldest book in my collection too, and one of the coolest, I think. So Otterbinder story, Al Gabriel, Al Bellman, Al Simon, and Bob Ostner art, and Alex Schomburg cover. It's a 1.0. I don't care. This is just, it's how it's going to be for me to get it. It's got a bondage cover and a decapitation cover. So you look at this and you see the girl in the red dress is in bondage. It's got a bunch of heads decapitated over here, but it's got the Human Torch, the OG Human Torch when he was an android, when he wasn't retconned into what we know now, the Human Torch, and his sidekick Toro. Do some research on this. It's really cool. Most of the damage, again, is on the back. The spine looks like it's barely holding on. It is a CGC 1.0 cream to off-white pages, but man, for a 1.0, it fit the bill. These still aren't cheap, and I just wanted one. And I say that, but man, there's some great Captain America and Submariner covers out there from this era, but man, you're going to drop coin if you do. So this has scratched the itch for a while. It had some cool stuff on it, and I'm really grateful to own an Alex Schomburg cover because I think he is one of the GOATs. I was wrong. There was 2 books from that video I made 2 years ago that I still have, but one changed grades, and that is Man-Thing issue number 1 from January of 1974. This I originally bought from my buddy Remy James, Robot Monster Island, off Whatnot, before he blew up. He had this when we worked out a deal for it, and at that point it was only signed by Frank Bruner, and it was a CGC 9.4 off-white to white pages. This is a Steve Gerber story, Val Myrick and Sal Trapani art, and Frank Bruner cover, my favorite Man-Thing cover, and my favorite Man-Thing cover artist. So it's the second appearance of Howard the Duck and Korek, Jennifer Kale, which we saw in Agatha Long, and Dakeem appearance, Daredevil, and Black Widow cameo. This is the first ongoing solo series for Man-Thing. And then I sent it to CGC to be signed by Frank Bruner, which the marker was dying. It's so hard to see. If I bring it up, you can see it a little bit. He signed it in a dark area. It's tough. It's on his hand. It is signed by him, though. It says it on the label, but it went from a 9.4 to a 9.6. I did pay them to press it. I said, I know he's going to sign it. You might as well press it because there's going to be multiple hands on it. So it was a big, awesome thing to have it go up a grade bump. But it was also like, I can barely see the signature. Regardless, great story to it. One of my favorite books in my collection, and one of only 2 books that I had 2 years ago in my graded book collection. My favorite Marvel monster. I had set out to get this book for so long. And again, you've heard me talk this whole video about connections and who I've met and who I've talked to get these books. And Joe from Threesixtycomics, who I got to meet at Terrificon, he was on one of my shows and said, hey, I'm looking for this book. Do you have it? He's like, yeah, I just got one in. Sold it to me raw. I got it graded. Strange Tales, issue 89 from October of 1961, the month before the Fantastic Four debut. So Stan Lee story, Steve Ditko and Paul Ryman art, Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers cover and art. First appearance of Fin Fang Foom. When you think of Marvel monsters, I was talking to Steppo about this, there's 3 big ones that you look at. You look at Fin Fang Foom and his mythos throughout the comics, Groot in Tales to Astonish issue 13, and the Hulk, which was Hulk issue 1, because the Hulk is a Marvel monster. So those are the big ones to get. I'd love to have Groot's first appearance someday. Hulk is way out of my realm, because even in low grade, it's tough to get. So this was graded at 1.5, off-white pages, and I just love how Finn is represented on the cover. It's awesome. I love the character. I love Fin Fang Foom. I'd like to see him brought to the movies, brought to life, but how good would he look, because he's a giant dragon, and I just feel like it's really hard for them these days with CGI. I think there's better practical effects for dragons back in the 80s. You look at the movie Dragon Slayer, Vermithrax Pejorative. Look at that. Look up that dragon. It's amazing how they did it. So we'd love to see it, but I'm just happy to own his first comic book appearance. The biggest book I own, and it's not big to some people, but for me to get this is a big deal. This was an example of seeing a book at a price I thought was fair and moving 6 books, most graded, that I didn't care about, and I can't even tell you what ones they were, to get my hands on this book. And that is Daredevil issue 1, my favorite street level Marvel hero. First appearance of Matt Murdock, aka the Daredevil, Foggy Nelson, and Karen Page. It's just an awesome, awesome, iconic Silver Age cover. You know, Daredevil has been pretty successful as far as the Marvel Comics show. His first movie wasn't that great. Charlie Cox has done a great job with him, but it hasn't hit that. You know, look at Iron Man. He was like an E-list character, but that movie in 2008 shot him into A-list with his fans, with people who just found love for him. So really happy to get this. It does have the custom label up here. Stan Lee story, Bill Everett art, Bill Everett and Jack Kirby cover. So yeah, really, really grateful to have added this to my collection last year. Never thought I would. It's a CGC 1.0 off-white pages, and that's because the cover's detached. Like I was saying before, with my other book, the Weird Science issue 19, if you can get a book that you really wouldn't be able to obtain regularly because of a defect like the cover being detached and it's in a case already, it doesn't matter. So really grateful to have Daredevil issue 1. I love this book. I love all my books. Graded, raw, collect how you want. I think it's just all fun to collect and mix it up if you want to. It's really cool. If you don't like it, totally respect that. If you do like it, cool. Guys, thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate you taking the time. This was one of my longest videos I think I've ever made, but I really wanted to sit down and go through my graded book collection and give them some time in the light, if you will, the spotlight. So, guys, I hope you have a great, safe rest of your weekend. Until next time, keep reading those comics.